fantastic tutor. I'm so glad you all figured it out tonight. I believe we have noticed or seen the changes made on the how we join our classes. All right. I think I have Mr. Tech Mindsets, Ms. Fatima, and Ms. Donald. Good evening, all. And I have Ms. Alayo. Good evening. It's good to have you on board. So, without further ado, let's hop straight into it. Tonight's class happens to be the final familiarization phase on Boss 106. We are taking our bearing from human resource planning. With this being said, let's hop straight into it. Okay, so we have Boss 106 and we have human resource planning. So, when we talk about human resource planning, what are we saying in essence? All right, we all know that anything that has to do with human resources, all right, is that department of an organization that deals with the employee of an organization, all right, that is particular about the welfare and how well the employee of an organization is doing. All right, speaking of the human resource department, but that's not what we are talking about tonight. What we are talking about tonight is human resource planning. Now, when we say human resource planning involves the objective and systematic assessments. All right, human resource planning, all right, not management. Now, the planning part of human resources involves the objective and systematic, all right, assessments. All right, when the human resource manager or whoever is in charge of the human resource department of an organization does what we call objective and systematic assessments. All right, objective and systematic assessment. All right, objective and systematic assessment of the present staffing needs. All right, of the present staffing needs. All right, of the present staffing needs of an organization. Like I said, this is the planning part of the responsibility of the human resource management. Okay, when a systematic and an objective assessment. When we say of assessing now, you are investigating, all right, looking deeper into what are the staffing needs of the organization as it is at the moment. What are the things we need to put in place about now and for future purpose? All right, all this has to do with human resource planning. All right, just immediately after that, we have forecasting manpower needs. When we say forecasting, all right, we are simply talking about that ability to get information for what has happened previously. All right, and on that information gathered, determine what futuristic situations will look like. All right, since this is what has happened, this is what is happening, you can tell based on that information you have gathered what will happen in the future. And mind you, it is not 100% guaranteed. When I say forecasting manpower needs, okay, at least the chances of controlling this is more of 85% based on the analysis at your disposal. Okay, now we have manpower forecasting is defined as the purpose of collecting and analyzing. What are you analyzing? Information in order to do what? To determine, all right, the future supply and demand for any given skill or job category. All right, now let's take that down. Forecasting manpower needs. Now, don't forget, when we say manpower in an organization, we're simply talking about that part of an organization that involves, all right, the labor strength, all right, the labor capacity of an organization, all right. When the manpower of an organization is high, that means there's availability of labor, which is tantamount to more productivity, increased productivity. Now, the forecasting part of this is that manpower forecasting is seen as the process of collecting and analyzing information. Collecting and analyzing info. All right, collecting and analyzing. Oh, wonderful! Somebody just smashed the like button. Thank you for that. Collecting and analyzing information to what? To determine the future purpose. To determine the future purpose. All right, forecasting. All right, determine future. All right, future purpose. All right, or let's take it this way. Future. Let's take it this way. Future supply and demand of a, all right, future supply of and demand for any given skill. Future supply for and demand. Future supply for and demand of a given skill. Now, speaking of, okay, in the next 5 to 10 years, the organization will be needing, all right, demand for a particular skills, and what could the organization stand the chance of supplying to the public or to its customer to increase its revenue. So we have future supply for what exactly? Don't forget, when we talk about production now, we need to first answer the question of for whom to produce, what to produce, when, how. So are the questions you need to ask before you can go into production. So future supply, all right? Future supply, when we say future supply, we're talking about future supply of what exactly? And to do this supply, what demand for a particular skill we will be needing to achieve this. So we have that as that. The primary purpose, just like we have it here, the primary purpose of manpower forecasting is to what? Prepare for employment, training, and development, and proper use of human resources. Let's do that again. The primary purpose of forecasting manpower needs are, we have prepare for employment, train or training your manpower, training your employees, and proper development of human resources. So those are the main purpose for forecasting. So we have that as that. So let's talk about staffing process. Okay, staffing process function consists of the following sequence. All right, let's see the sequence in staffing process. What are the sequence in staffing process? We have a sequence in staffing process. Step 1, analyze the job by preparing the job description, job specification, and job analysis. The first step is to what? Analyze the job. That job you want to put or you want to switch or slot in. Yes, staffing process. That's what we are discussing. I think Miss Grace is a little bit backward. Miss Grace, that's what we are talking about. Staffing process. Look at it. Excuse me. So the very first step we have under staffing process. Okay? The very first step is to what? Analyze the job. Okay? Analyze the job by preparing job description. Speaking of analyzing the job, yes, you need to move it, you need to fast forward this now. Speaking of analyzing the job, you need to do what we call job description, job specification, and job analysis. So the very first step, so we have job, analyze the job, job analysis. All right. So we also have actual recruitment. Actual recruitment. Under actual recruitment, this would explore all the internal and external source from the required personnel, all right, for where the required personnel can be recruited. Now, under this actual recruitment, you know what the process of recruitment is? You need to first display the job, all right? You need to first make an announcement that there's an opening and there's need for you to slot in. So a lot of applicants will respond accordingly, and the process starts by, all right, you first you conduct interview, a series of interviews. After you are done, you select those that are successful, and the process continues until you finally find that person which is proper for that actual position. So we have actual requirement. Also, we have employee selection. I made mention of this moments ago. 3, employee selection. This is when you saw you. These are a crucial steps. Involves using techniques that would identify, all right, techniques that would identify and isolate the suitable people who would eventually be selected. It's part of the process. Part of the process. So when you are done with this actual, all right, the process of this actual requirement, after you are done, you have to now do the actual selection or employee selection. Those are rights that you are looking for, that are right for the job. Then we have retention. That's 4. Retention. Retention. Mr. Alfred is not here. Mr. Alfred, if you're on the stream, let me know, please. So we have retention, and when the right people have been hired, they must be retained so they can stay with the organization for a long time. All right. We also have training and development. That is self-explanatory. Training and development. So as well, we have performance appraisal. Performance appraisal. All these are the staffing process. Okay, so very quickly, let's talk about job description. Now, when we say job description, it is a systematic job description, is systematic, okay? It is said to be a systematic, organized, and written statement. A systematic, organized, and written statement of who does what, when, where, and how, and why. And it's what we call tangible outcome of job analysis. Let's take this point. Job description, job description is the tan what we call the tangible outcome of job analysis. Okay, somebody's asking a question. Okay, good evening, Mr. Alfred. Are you just joining? Okay, job analysis is said to be a systematic, organized, and written statement of who does what, when, where, how, and why. Okay, so we have that as that. Just like we also have job specification. Here it specifies personality requirements and list of qualifications. Job specification specifies personality and job requirements and qualification. Specifies personality requirements and job qualifications. So that's all on job specification. So now very quickly let's touch on what we call recruitment. All right, after manpower needs have been determined, the next step in staffing function is what we call recruitment. Recruitment of candidates for jobs to be filled. Okay, now recruitment is now said to be the process of attracting qualified personnel. This question came out in TMA last semester. Recruitment, the process of attracting who? Qualified. Okay, the process of attracting qualified, okay, qualified personnel, matching them with specific suitable jobs and assigning them to these jobs. Very straightforward. Process of attracting what? Qualified personnel. Qualified personnel. After you are done attracting them, what do you do next? All right, you match them. Matching, this definition has a lot hidden under it. It's a lot of process. It's not as easy as the process is not as easy as the definition makes it looks. All right, matching them with specific and suitable jobs matching them with specific and suitable jobs as all right, and assigning them to these jobs. Basically, this is what recruitment means. All right, you first have to attract. Who are you attracting? Qualified personnel. Then you now match them, put a round peg in a round hole, and that we have that as another recruitment. There's what we call internal source or sources and external sources. When we say internal sources now, we are simply talking about the internal sources are the most obvious, all right, the most obvious sources and are primarily really within the organization itself, and it includes its present working force. This is basically whether internal or external. We're simply talking about, all right, recruiting. When it's internal now, let's say for example, if it's assistant HR manager that is, I was the HR. If it was the HR that was maybe transferred or promoted taken to another branch, an internal recruitment now, his assistant will go through series of training and everything. And if he is found worthy of the position, he will be promoted. That's more like an internal, or maybe bring some, like internal. Okay, you have somebody who can work this and that. Bring the person's CV, and that has to do with internal, that the organization does not have to announce or attract from without. If it's from within, then it's internal. If it's from without, then it's what we call external sources. So we have that as that. So we also have something called selection. All right, we need to cover a lot, so I would like to hasten up a little bit. Now, when we say selection, it's also in the process of recruitment too. Please note that selection is a process of choosing, all right, the right candidate from a pool of applicants. Choosing the right candidate from a pool. Before I stop working, all right, from a pool of applicants. I believe you can see from here. Let me confirm that. Yes, we can see. Of applicants. All right, from a pool of applicants. Okay, that is what selection is basically. Nothing more, nothing less. Just like the word means select. Okay, so we have that as that. So as well, like I said earlier, retention, the hiring process and the training process, all right, are very costly, and it will be very, very, very unfortunate having gone through all these things. A few months after, the people that they are leaving, so there are a lot of things involved. Company to retain its staff, all right. The payment, the salary has to be good, working condition has to be good, remunerations, benefits, all these things, they have to be encouraging. If not, you spend a lot training and development, and they will eventually leave, right? So that is one other thing with retention, which is very, very important. So we have that as that. Now let's talk about let's talk about, there are some recruitment techniques. All right, recruitment techniques are the means or media by which management contacts prospective employee. All right, contact prospective, when we say prospective, potential employees, or provide necessary information to exchange ideas. All right, stimulates them to apply for jobs. So techniques useful to stimulate internal, all right, candidates are, now, techniques to stimulate employee to apply for a particular job opening. So talking about that, for internal employees now, we have promotion. All right, most internal candidates will be stimulated to take up higher responsibility and express their willingness to be engaged in higher level job if management give them the assurance that they will be promoted to the next level. All right, in an organization that promotion is being done from time to time, you know that they promote you, your salary will increase. Some promotion even come with official cars. I mean, why would anybody want to leave such a place? I know that years, 1 or 2 years, you'll be promoted. At least the thing is even simple. Any organization that allows you to develop yourself, that is in the next 5 years, this is what I can be with this organization. Not organization that they will want to use, and they are very, sorry to say, they are very common. We have in many organizations that they will use and use you, and at the end of it, you have nothing to show for it, and it's very, very unfortunate. That's why a lot of people, a lot of organizations, you see them recruiting every now and then. Because no, why would somebody work with you for years and nothing to show for it? Nah, that's happening. All right. So promotion is a good strategy, a good technique. We have transfer. All right. We have recommendations. All right, of the present employees, and we have scouting. All right. These are good techniques. All does work well. So we have that as that. Now let's uh, let's take some methods of training. All right, some methods of training. These are, I believe, these are the things we must have touched on in our first semester, but here they are still repeating it, so which is not bad. So permit me to raise the ball so we can take some points down on that. Now, but before we talk about methods of training, what do we even mean by training? Oh my god, this thing has gone. Permit me to just quickly. So now, when we say, before we talk about the method of training, let's quickly say something about what training is exactly. Training is defined as a short-term process, all right, utilizing a systematic and organized procedure by which non-managerial personnel learn technical knowledge and skill for a or for a definite purpose. All right. Training and development seems to be continuous phenomenon, with training emphasizing manual skills at one ex- all right, extreme, and development emphasizes the philosophy at the other extreme. Now, training, development. I I feel, all right, based on what it is, development is working on an already acquired skill, improving upon, owning your skill. You skill you have acquired it, but training you don't even have that skill before at all. Now look at the definition they give. It says that training is a short term. It could be short term. It could be long term. I think training is short compared to development. Development can be as long as possible. All right. Now training is a short term process. This process talks about how you utilize a systematic and organized procedure, step upon steps, precept upon precept, by which a non-managerial personnel, let's substitute that word with um, non-managerial, because you're a non-professional. Let's take that, a non-professional. Let's substitute non-managerial for a non-professional personnel. Learn what we call technical knowledge and skill for a what, a definite purpose. When you now acquire this knowledge, then you can now be seen as a managerial personnel. Now you have something to offer. You have a skill that you have learned for a specific purpose. All right. So we have, but development is more of working upon the already acquired skill. All right. So we have that as that. So before we call it wrap for tonight, so we have the types of training. We have on the job training and off the job training. All right. Training we have on the job and off the job. On the job and off the job. Okay, on the job and off the job. So we have, when we say on the job, they are quite explanatory. Trainings that you receive when you are currently on the job, and trainings that you receive like you are off the job, maybe vocational training, all right, maybe classroom training or seminars. But this one, get it while you are practicing that job. So we have that stuff. I think we are out of time, and I'm having another class almost immediately for GSC 201. So before we call it a wrap for today, let's all right. Before we call it a wrap for today, I think we should cover motivation. All right. When we say motivation, we are simply talking about it is that energizing force that induce or compels and maintain behavior. All right. Motivation. Speaking of energizing force, energizing, all right, force that induce. When I say induce, that's introduce, that makes happen, induce or compels a certain behavior. All right, compels and maintains behavior. Okay, so we have that as that. So there's something called MOB. Please note this MBO. Note this abbreviation. All right, management by objective. So we have management by objective. Please note that. So we have delegation. All right, when we say delegation, it's a process that permits the transfer of authority. Delegation. All right, transfer of authority. Transfer of what? Authority. The process that permits the transfer of authority. Okay, so we have decentralization, just like we have it. It is said to be if the authority to make decisions is delegated by manager to the lower. All right, decentralization means that when authority that is concentrated is being given out, all right, you are removing the burden, all right, on a particular system, all right, breaking it into bits, all right, unlike centralization when the whole burden is just on one unit. So on this note, we'll call it a wrap here for today. And just before we call it a wrap, there's something called social responsibility. All right, social responsibility is that responsibility that it is expected of a particular organization, the responsibility a particular organization owes to the area, all right, which it is operating. All right, responsibility an organization owes to the area whereby it is operating or located. All right, so those responsibilities are, okay, we have 7-Up in this our area. 7-Up has provided good road, street light, maybe any project that they spearheaded because their company is in that particular location. All right, so thank you very much, everyone, and this is all on the course GST Boss 106. Please let's keep our notes up to date and submit them to the private class. Thank you very much, everyone. I look forward to seeing you all in subsequent tutorial, and in our next class we'll be taking some other courses. Do have a wonderful evening. Good night.